Hello, it's Ravine here to do your weekly reading from the 9th to the 15th of October. I pulled from two decks today, the Sacred Destiny Oracle and the Rider-Waite Tarot. And so I'm really seeing this reading having come out in kind of pairs between those two decks. It's really speaking some strong messages today, which I find is so interesting. I'm really excited about it. I'm seeing this within this message within, the people around me, within my own circle, within my own reality right now. So I just feel like it's a really strong and exciting and interesting message here. So the first pair I'll speak to is Security in Reverse and the Hangman below. So on the Security in Reverse card, the depiction is of a cave, and there is a fire inside. And there is a kind of a hole in the roof of the cave where you can see the skies or the heavens. So I'm really feeling with this card is speaking to home. It's speaking to home fire. It is speaking to the physical security, but also the security within one's being. And it could be within the different bodies, celestial as well, right? So it's kind of speaking to the different layers. So the spiritual bodies, the emotional bodies, the mental bodies, and of course the very physical bodies that are maybe feeling out of balance or there's an instability. So speaking to that, like how we feel comfortable in our own skin or in our own home or where we are in our reality right now. So wherever security lies, it really feels like there is a shifting that's coming, that's kind of pushing us out of that comfort zone of the security we've built around us. So, and that is really being hit home here as well with the Hanged Man. And I feel like perspectives are shifting. So where we've built up this security or stability of these perspectives, these walls around us as well, I feel like that's shifting, and we're starting to work with these inner beliefs, thoughts, and emotions, and we're starting to stretch our limits, to break down the barriers that keep us limited. So, with the Hanged Man here, there feels like, that there is, it's speaking to that dark night of the soul energy that we've been picking up on for weeks. This like shifting, this deep inner work that we've been doing. But what's interesting here is I feel like with the Hanged Man here, it's speaking to moving out of that inertia, moving out of that stuckness, and really being ready to step into this new path. So it's kind of like that. The image I'm getting is like that energy of being forced to go inward because there's nowhere else to go. It's really starting to pay off. And so things are shifting in our reality. And that means new perspectives are coming. And so the Hanged Man is on, what you could call a cross, basically. And those two pieces of wood are representing the vertical, so the spiritual path, and the horizontal path, which is the linear, the physical path, the time, the path of time, past, present, and future. So we are often challenged by two separate paths, and those are often the two paths that come up, with being really stuck sometimes in the physical, in the linear, in the past, present, future, all the challenges that come up with that, and maybe not taking enough time to get into the present and get into in alignment with our dharma or that energy. And then sometimes it's the opposite. We're really focused on, our spiritual path, and we're having, trouble or struggling with getting into our bodies. And so it could actually be, two actually very physical paths or different directions that we're feeling kind of pulled by right now. And so all that to say is that, what I'm really seeing here is that we get focused on two paths. I'm seeing that there is a potential third path, or these new ideas that are coming in that we might not have thought of, or maybe they were planted seeds from, ideas that have come in before. You weren't ready to take those steps. You weren't ready to step out of your comfort, but now you might be seeing things in a new perspective. So it feels like things, or the foundations that we built before, are starting to crack and crumble. No matter where you are in your journey, something that is, really coming through with that is, these comforts, or these walls, or these foundations that we've built around us. And that could be, again, belief systems, thoughts. They're starting to crack or crumble. And so there is this letting go of this need to control. I feel we are coming to this place of acceptance of where we are. And now there is this alchemy coming in where we're really starting to move past that stuckness, that feeling of dead end. And all of a sudden there's this sense of kind of enlightenment. And I want to be careful with the word enlightenment. It's, where there's a shining of a light on something, where all of a sudden we're shedding an old, and there is this like new kind of rebirth. We're feeling reborn. We are kind of ready. And all of a sudden, a month ago, we might not have, embraced an idea or had this confidence to do something, to say something, to walk a journey, to embrace an idea. And all of a sudden today we might be. So that is the enlightenment that I'm speaking to. On to the next pair, I'm seeing with the white feather, simplicity of the mind, right? We get really stuck in the mind. That's where our limits really come in. So the message here is really stepping into the simplicity of things. What is really important or valued in your life, what really matters, and release everything else. And that is easier said than done, of course, but how can you simplify your life? Really taking heed to those areas that are filled with clutter within our minds, within, our physical space. So kind of letting go of the control, the need to control, that clutter that comes in, the thoughts that come in that want to limit us. And, really, I'm seeing the questions that are popping up is like, how? Okay, so a new idea comes in and it's like, well, how would I do that? And we will bog ourselves down with all the ways of how, and what it should look like and what it shouldn't look like, and the fears that come up. Can we step back from that? Can we just bring in the simplicity of whatever the next step is? The idea has arrived. We're feeling new confidence. Can we step into the simplicity of the moment and not let ourselves get too overwhelmed? With the Queen of Pentacles, I'm really seeing here that there is this abundance of vitality. With the Pentacles, it's really speaking to everything earthly. But even more so, I'm really feeling it's connected to community, to the physical in the way of expanding and of expanding outreach and connection. So there's this sense here as she's looking at the pentacle, that there's this acceptance of the realism of whatever that is. It could be financial, it could be our relationships, it could be any situation that we are experiencing in the physical, in that linear on that linear path, right? So this acceptance of, okay, here we are, this is where we're at. How do we get real with that? And in reverse, what I'm seeing is the challenge to that acceptance piece. It really feels like it's speaking to that broadening, that expanding, that like readiness to come into full acceptance. And then the alchemy that comes with that of standing in your true divine power. And there is a serenity feeling here. There is this connection to the feminine, the emotional body. Like really being ready to be more vulnerable, but I'm seeing in that being in a space of confidence, not vulnerability in that piece of putting oneself out, on the line, but really standing in one's power and being vulnerable. It really comes from a different space. So yeah, in reverse, I'm really feeling like this is speaking to that coming online and that deep contemplation of being ready to let go of the fear and the anxiety, opening up to the abundance of the emotional connection. And it also speaks to taking self-care, deeper self-care, and especially with the simplicity piece, it's really letting go and allowing things to unfold and open up. But I'm really seeing that these new ideas are kind of blossoming, are coming forth, and they might be shaking our security in the ground that we're on. And we're going to need to stay open. We're going to need to continue to simplify things in our lives, our minds, and our hearts and our souls, and make sure that we're taking good care of ourselves, make sure that we're rejuvenating and resting, and that we're staying open to receive those connections, and taking any steps that are needed as well. And that brings us into the last combination here, which is the steps. It is the taking the risks, which is so amazing. And there's, I think it's a hawk in this picture. Yeah, it kind of looked like a golden eagle, but anyways, there's the mountains in the back. It looks like Sedona, very sacred place and space. And it's just really speaking to the opening up of the wings, taking the leap off the cliff, and believing that we are taken care of. It's pointing back to the feather as well. So it's like the feather really representing the divine, and that we are taken care of. The synchronicities that I feel like are coming up for many right now, the messages that we are being supported and we are being protected as we walk on this journey. And we can kind of let go of those fears and take the leap of faith and take the jump and feed those seeds that have been planted and are now starting to grow. So that's just, such a beautiful next piece. And so with the Three of Wands below that, again, it's kind of, it's really hitting that home with speaking to that energized, inspired, flowing, synchronistic energy. And so the message that comes with this too is like next level. It's like big fish, small pond. We've outgrown a situation. We've outgrown the space that we're on. We've outgrown the ideas that we have been sharing, and now it's like it's time to step into these new ideas that have been culminating within us, and time to step away from the fear and those securities we've been building up around us that are crumbling. It's like do not fear, don't panic. Right? It's like you are being protected, you are well. And can you see that crumbling is really taking us to somewhere new? And of course there's grieving sometimes, of course there is that, needed downtime. And I feel like the Queen is also speaking to that. She also is looking down, she looks sad. There's a grieving there. But remembering that taking risks, seeing that hawk right there, and looking off in the Three of Wands to the new lands, right? It's not forgetting the old lands. It is really supported, and it feels like there is an acceptance that something new is coming in, a new path that we weren't ready for before, and that we are and have been preparing for is starting to show itself to us. So that is the message for this week. I send you beautiful blessings for this mid-October, and we will see you next week.